the assistant art director with The Adventures of Superboy.
Worked for Gray Construction Company as a personnel specialist.
Right now, I am an account executive at WKQQ.
Work at Cable News Network. I'm an audio tech and an editor. And
I'm currently production manager at WBMG TV here in Birmingham.
I'm prop master here on Superboy.
Audio visual program.
I'm a weekend sportscaster here.
I'm the program director for WGFX 104.5.
I'm executive at Coast 98.3.
Audio post-production, along with audio mixing for shows now for TNN.
Production manager for Meetings International in Louisville, Kentucky.
The post-production supervisor in charge of the edit staff.
I am the sports director here at WJKS TV.
Currently, I'm the anchor.
From Savannah, Georgia and Coast 98.3, happy 25th Communications and Broadcasting.
Memories, friends, 8x10s.
A long shot gamble in a losing game. Flat out race just to pull up plain. No second chance when it's never the same.
Memories, friends, and 8x10s.
The day is done and I'm ready to blow. Plenty of money, but nowhere to go. If you live like this, you got nothing to show but
memories, friends, 8x10.
Okay, let's go back to the early 60s. In the early 60s, there were some courses offered in the English department in speech and theater, journalism, those kinds of courses. So in 1962, Western offered its first course in radio and television. The instructor was Tom Ecker, and you've probably heard from some of our alums about the state of equipment we offered.
There were still some cardboard cameras built on little tripods, and that's what the students used to use to practice shots and things.
We happened to have an alum of Western whose name was Julian Goodman. He was at the time president of NBC. Goodman thought it would be a good idea if we upgraded our offerings, and so he saw to it that we received equipment from NBC. As a matter of fact, we got the equipment from the Johnny Carson show. In the speech and theater area, we had developed a major that was approved in 1965, and the first people graduated in that program in 1965. Now, Tom Ecker stayed around for 2 or 3 years, and a man by the name of Fred Haas was employed. Dr. Frederick Haas, who had a PhD from the University of Wisconsin. He was quite knowledgeable about educational television, and he's probably the person who's most responsible for the reputation we now enjoy in television production, because he set up the original courses. He was responsible for setting up the original studios. In 1968, the university approved a major in mass communication, and that originally mass communication had both radio and television and journalism. And so in 1968, there was a decision made to create a Department of Speech and Theater. And we separated from the English department. We had 8 faculty members. We had about 100 undergraduate majors. And in 1970, the Department of Mass Communication was established. Dr. James Weslowski was head of that department. In 1977, the Department of Mass Communication was reorganized, and a Department of Journalism was created. And the radio and television courses came to the Speech and Theater Department, and that name was changed to Communication and Theater, which it remained until 1987, when theater became a separate department and communication and broadcasting was created. Through the years, we've hired some people who've turned out to be very eccentric.
Sometimes their characters were so extreme, it seemed like good material for a sitcom. Can you see it? You know, the camera moving down the hall and trucking past all the open doorways, and they wave as it goes by or something. You see Wicklander.
Wick was the man. I didn't necessarily express it to him at the time. My favorite teacher.
The professor there, Dale Wicklander, was just a hoot. Very dry, sarcastic wit, but he knew his business. One of my favorite things about Dale was when he had his notes before him in class is seeing him take a piece of paper this close to his face and follow it all the way around, because he would write notes down the page and then across and up around the page. Guy was an absolute trip.
At the time I was at Western, I had a St. Bernard named Leo. Now Leo pretty much ran free, and I often got calls because he'd be marching up and down the field with a big red band, and he learned how to open the doors down at ETV, and he would go in the lobby and lay on the couch. Clymer would bring Leo to Dale Wicklander's class, and of course Mr. Wicklander, with his farsightedness, never saw the dog. until one day the dog just got up and went up and laid his head on the desk and kind of went, and the papers blew everywhere. And that was the first time Dr. Wicklander actually noticed that there had been an animal in class for some time, like a 200-pound animal.
And he loved to draw, loved to write, and I remember him always drawing pictures.
So some classes were fun. Dr. Wicklander's classes were fun.
Yeah, they were fun.
Because they made you study.
The classes I liked best were the ones where I was actually in a studio or in a control room doing what I had learned to do.
There were sort of two different courses. One was voice and diction, and the other one was communicative speech, I believe.
I think studio work was the most fun for me because I had a chance to actually put my hands on the equipment.
Conflict resolution.
Electronic field production.
I loved EFP.
EFP. I think electronic field production was probably my favorite class.
I don't probably production 1.
Sales.
Class on persuasion.
I'd have to say probably my greatest class was a class I took under Dr. Zacharias.
Carl Kell, he helped me out quite a bit while I was an undergraduate student. He directed me towards majoring in mass communication and even coming down to the Disney Company.
Dr. Kell.
Mac, we've got to believe in rhetoric. Rhetoric. Rhetoric's where the action's at. It's all rhetoric.
This is Bart White. Radio. Wow. Radio. Wow! This one whole side of his mouth opens and the other one doesn't. It's kind of like this.
Well, blah, blah, blah. Give me some Cheetos.
Bart White. He's one of my heroes. Bart White.
Called him over spring break, and I feel free to ask him any kind of questions that I have. He was kind of my mentor, and I try to keep up with that. Anything that Bart tells me, I'll stick to. He knows what he's talking about, believe it or not.
So it was a good blend of discipline and creativity from Bart White and Dr. Wicklander.
Dr. Wynn kind of took me under his wing and he said, I'll be your advisor, I'll help you out. And he was there for me till the very end. And so I remember that experience of feeling so lost in such a big place. Even at my age, I just really felt out of place, but he really brought me in. If he hadn't done that day and made me feel comfortable, I'm really not sure what direction I would have gone in, even if I would have entered the program.
Michael Lassiter. Michael was a producer-director at the time down at Western's television station, and he was an outstanding photographer, and just a phenomenal photographer. And I think he's the one individual I think I learned the most from as far as shooting goes. Kinesics, and he likes paralanguage. Paralanguage. You understand what I'm saying? Paralanguage.
Hi, good to see you. Hi, good to see you. He's always wearing his suit jacket. I've never seen him without his suit jacket on.
Dr. Capps kind of sticks out in my mind because he was my advisor through the program, and he also ended up giving me a lot of special help. I ended up having to move away from the Bowling Green area, and I had some difficulty completing the program, and Dr. Capps really stuck by me through that and had some commitment to me, and I really appreciated it.
One of the other professors that I truly enjoyed was Terry Clymer.
Marvin Muse, who came out of CBS Chicago and saw fit to visit us for a while before he decided to get back into the big rat race and was gone again, but he brought with him a lot of current television knowledge and experience and just made it exciting.
Steve White is probably one of my favorite instructors.
Steve White.
Steve White.
And Steve White.
Lance, close up! I said close up!
The Steve White imitation. Now, wait a minute. You won't go, or you don't want to go?
And I really got a lot of guidance from Tim England.
I'd just like to say to the communication department and to the professors that had helped me get to where I am today that Western Kentucky University has a tremendous communication department. In all of the people that I've met here at CNN from all the different colleges and from around the world, I still feel that my education at Western Kentucky University advanced me well beyond most of the people here.
Larry Caluette's Theories of Mass Communications class, and I'm probably the 20th or 30th person who said that, but I think that was one of the tasks of Hercules. After he did the stables and they bent the river, he had to take Larry Caluette's 345 Theories class.
Charles Anderson that's one word. My worst man is Charles Anderson. Coming in and seeing me editing when I shouldn't have been.
Dr. Kell, you're the only professor that ever gave me an F, ever. ever.
I think Steve White always gave me the hardest time because it seemed like he expected more out of me and had more time, was more critical of everything that I did.
There were a few parties up that way, but I never could get up there to go to them because I was supposed to break them up, but I heard about them. I heard about them going on.
Yeah, we had a few radio station parties, and Craig, we had them at your house, so I kind of have to go with you in a different way on that one. We had a few radio parties here and there. We discussed business.
And one summer, Dr. Chuck had us paint the floor with epoxy paint, and the next summer he had us scrape it all off again.
Memories of bare feet.
One of the small things that I remember was a club that we kind of jokingly called the Dawn Breakers Club or the Sunrise Club, or there were a lot of different names for it. And one of the things that you had to do in order to become part of this club is to see the light of day, the dawn from Studio 2.
A lot of times I watched the sunrise at Studio 2. I really enjoyed going into the studio, although the students' studio, I guess, the students' workshop, not quite as advanced as some of the other parts of the building, but I can remember standing, and the way it was laid out then, you had the student section, then you had a glass. I think you could look over and see what was going on, I guess what we call the real world, and how much we wanted to get over there.
Signed Daddy Chuck's name to a thing, please allow this parking space to be used, and signed it C. Anderson.
We had a team one time that went to New York, and they got there a day late. This was before my time, and this person was a little unethical, I would assume, and when he got there, they decided to take the money that they were going to use for the tournament and just have a really big time, but they had to explain this to Dr. Capps when they got back. So what they did was they bought a trophy, and they brought it back, and they had it engraved and everything, and I would at least have had enough sense to say we won, broke into semifinals or something, but this was a first place trophy in debate at this tournament in New York. And I think he got suspicious and found out about it. And needless to say, that person wasn't rehired. But
there were many contests of pitching the records like frisbees across the walkway, the concourse there, between DUC and the academic complex to see who could hit the roof with the albums or the 45s. There was a way to get out onto the roof of the academic complex by the office windows.
And I tried to stop them, and they just wouldn't listen to me. We would take, like, there were, I can't even think of, Pat Boone records. We'd be like, we don't play that. And we'd sail them here and there.
The roof pitching, it's probably still going on now, still.
Rosemary, whom you have met, you filmed, she decided to reenact for everyone at this bar, at this entire restaurant, the scene at the restaurant from when Harry met Sally. He got a standing ovation.
Santos Lopez and Chris Bratton are geniuses, and one day we'll all know that.
My lifelong friends have been with faculty members.
Randy and I have kept in touch ever since I left Western Kentucky University. Almost on a yearly basis, he's kept in touch with my career here at Disney.
The friends that I've made at Western are going to be the kind of friends that I will carry on throughout my life. I make sure that I stay in contact with everybody, and they call me and I call them. It's important to stay in contact with the people that are your friends in college.
Oh yeah, everyone I ever met at Western I stay in contact with. What? That'd be impossible, Millie.
If I could sum up in one word my experience at Western, it would be opportunity.
Thorough.
Unforgettable.
Interesting and enjoyable.
Realistic.
Solid. Intense. Very intense.
Exciting.
Indispensable.
Enlightening.
Involved.
All-encompassing.
Marion Nurse. It's been exciting and dynamic. It's been exciting to see talented students come to school here and get an education and go out and have careers in the profession.
I had a goal when I was coaching in high school to have a state champion in debate, theater, individual events, and a national champion. And I met that goal, and now I have a goal at Western Kentucky University. I would like for us to have a national championship, and I hope to accomplish that either before I retire or die, whichever comes first.
I think there's a tremendously exciting future for this department. We have, in the first 25 years, we've developed a reputation for having a good program in the areas of communication which we offer. And so we have our foot in the door, and we have name recognition by agencies which employ our graduates and by high school teachers who are influential in where their students go to college. And I expect that we're going to continue to get better, assuming that Kentucky can keep its support of higher education to the level that we've enjoyed in the past decade. I see no reason that we won't continue to be better, get better students, better quality students, and continue to upgrade the quality of our programs.
From Atlanta, Georgia and Cable News Network, happy 25th Communication and Broadcast.
Happy 25th.
From WKQQ-FM in Lexington.
And WGFX-FM in Nashville.
Happy 25th
From Universal Studios, Florida.
And happy 25th Communication and Broadcasting.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Happy 25th Communication and Broadcasting.
From the folks at Nashville Network.
Communication and Broadcasting, happy 25th.
Birmingham, Alabama.
Happy 25th.
From Toyota in Georgetown, Kentucky.
From the President, a happy 25th birthday to our great Department of Communication and Broadcasting.
And many, many more.